Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Amber Rose, also known as the Religious Hippie. You can basically follow me on any social media platform. Just type in the Religious Hippie and you will find me. So you guys have been asking for an updated prayer routine, and so I'm going to deliver on that today. Obviously, you guys know that prayer is extremely important as Christians, and in general, I think that there might be some things in here that you guys could implement into your own prayer life, or you guys might be doing some of these things already. Whatever the case is, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know what you guys do for your prayer time. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing that I do when I get up in the morning is I do the morning offering. I just use the USCCB one. I just memorize that one and then I just pray that one. I'm also going to be linking all these prayers and everything below in the description for you guys in case you want to follow along or you guys want to add them. So yeah. I wake up, I do the morning offering, and then I usually will sit down in my little corner. You guys know my prayer corner in my rocking chair, and I will usually journal for about 15 minutes. Sometimes I have more to say, sometimes I have less, so I try to keep it around 15 minutes, but sometimes it goes over into more like 20 minutes, and that's totally fine. I don't really like to have like a rigorous routine when it comes to my prayer. I like to basically do it as I feel I need it. If I need a little more time here, I want to give myself some more time. So so I will basically do some prayer journaling then. And then next up, I have Every Day with Mary. I love this book. What Laura Likes and I believe A Catholic Mom's Life, Heather, both mentioned this book. I ended up getting it about a year and a half ago. Absolutely love this book. So I can just read you guys a little tidbit from today, what I read today. And they usually have a little bit of scripture here, and then emphasis, and then a question, and then a prayer. So this was today's. If any man would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. Luke 9:23. My life has been touched by the generosity of good people who have given of themselves so that I might come to know and love Jesus and his mother Mary. Teachers, priests, mentors, and friends have all helped to form me in a disciple of Christ and have inspired me to pick up my daily cross and to follow Jesus. As members of the body of Christ, each of us is called to be generous with our life in some way, to deny ourselves and follow Jesus. As a disciple of Jesus, our Blessed Mother heard her sons proclaim this challenge to his followers. No doubt Mary understood what Jesus meant, for she lived her whole life in this manner. From the moment of Mary's fiat to the angel Gabriel, Mary took up her cross by generously giving her life to God. And then this is the question. What are the ways that the Lord has called you to be generous with your life? In what way can you take up your daily cross? And then the prayer is, Dear Mary, please pray for me that I might have the willingness to generously deny myself as you did to bring Jesus into the world. So I absolutely love this book. Again, linking this below. I think this is a great book, and you can just continuously read it because, again, it's literally every single day. So even if you finish it and you're like, oh wow, I finished it, you should probably still go through it until you die because there's so much great information in here that I probably have overlooked. And so just being able to go back every single year and reread it has been amazing. So I highly suggest this book. So then once I do that, I start praying my rosary. Now, I pray my rosary in the morning if I am not going to adoration later. Otherwise, I enjoy praying my rosary during adoration. This was a rosary sent to me by Heavy Metals Rosary. It was specifically made for me, so you will not be able to actually get this anywhere else. But it's just absolutely beautiful. I love this rosary. It's gorgeous. The beads change color too, which is phenomenal. It's crazy. What was I talking about? So anyways, if I'm going to adoration, I will usually wait to pray my rosary and Divine Mercy Chaplet until adoration. If I know I'm not going to have time to go to adoration, I will pray it in the morning so that I just know I got it in and I won't have to worry if I got it in or not. So yeah, so then next would be the rosary, unless of course I'm going to adoration. And the same thing basically goes for my Divine Mercy Chaplet. I will pray it in the morning if I know I won't be able to go to adoration, but if I am at adoration, I prefer to pray it during adoration. There's just something about it that makes it so much closer to Jesus when I pray it in front of him, because I'm literally with him, so that's why. But I always highly suggest, if you guys can, to pray the Rosary and Divine Mercy Chaplet during Eucharistic adoration. Love it. So that's basically it for my morning routine. I definitely toned it down a lot more. I also try to make some time for silence because you guys have heard me a million times. Like, silence is really important. Unfortunately, I've been slacking on that just because when I do sit in silence, my brain tends to process things and it just gets overwhelming sometimes. But it is something I have been prioritizing and working it into my routine bit by bit. It's just taken some time, but I highly suggest making some time for silence, whether that's going for a walk in the woods or a car ride. Going for a car ride's fun. All of that's really great. So the only thing that I really do in the afternoon is I pray the Angelus at 12. That's about it. I haven't really had much time to be able to add on to my afternoon prayer, but I think the Angelus is a great one to pray at 12. And then my evening prayers consist of the examination of conscience, which you guys know I suggest all the time. I'm again linking the PDF below. An act of contrition, and then an act of faith, hope, love, and charity. And then that's basically my evening routine. And if I didn't do some kind of, if I missed a prayer during my morning routine, I'll usually finish it during my evening routine. So that's basically my updated prayer routine for everyday life. I also wanted to throw in what I do for adoration. I know that I already made a video about things to do during adoration, and that was a great video. You guys loved it. I've changed it up a little bit for myself, and so I'm just going to tell you guys what I do. So I have this little booklet, and this is "O Blessed Host, Have Mercy on Us." This is from St. Faustina. Well, not from St., but it's from like her diary. It's basically like a summary of that. I don't know if they have these anymore. This was found in my basement. My mom gave me like all the old Catholic books she found. But if I can find it, I will post a link to it below. So this basically has a whole bunch of prayers, reflections, devotions, all of that great stuff. I will read you one of my favorites. So this chapter is called "The Living Heart of Jesus." St. Faustina describes the living heart of Jesus present in the Eucharist. O living host, my one and only strength, fountain of love and mercy, embrace the whole world, fortify faint souls. O blessed be the instant and the moment when Jesus left us his most merciful heart. As I was praying to the living heart of Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament for this intention of a certain priest, Jesus suddenly gave me knowledge of his goodness and said to me, I will give him nothing that is beyond his strength. So I absolutely love this book. It gives you a lot to reflect on. There's chapters on doubt. There's offerings. There's experience of presence, desires and pain of Jesus. Just prayers and hymns. Like, there's just so many beautiful prayers in here. I love this book. I love taking it with me to adoration. So yeah. And then of course you guys know from what I said in the beginning, I will pray my Rosary or Divine Mercy Chaplet when I go to adoration. So I feel like that was just an obvious one, but wanted to reiterate that. So yeah, moving on. The next thing I do in adoration is spiritual reading. These are just some examples of the books I bring. I usually only try to bring 2 with me, and then I usually have my Kindle as well. You guys know that I have a bunch of books on my Kindle, so absolutely love that. But I wanted to show you guys like some hardcover books that I bring. So let's start off with this glorious book. This one is called Our Lady of Fatima. I've looked for it literally everywhere. I have not been able to find another copy of it. I will look again just in case, but this is a very old book. Very old. My mom found this one in our basement. It had a little water damage, but she's cute. I like her. I love old books. I don't know. I just love old books. But it's called Our Lady of Fatima. It's by Ryan, Monsignor Finbar Ryan. Basically, this is a whole story about Fatima, about the kids. It's in perspective of how the government was at that time, what the popes did at that time, the people who approved of Fatima, the people who didn't, what the kids had to endure, like bunch of different things. And so I've really been enjoying reading this book. I don't usually bring this one specifically with me to adoration because it's not really like a prayer book. It's more like an inform like book kind of thing, but every now and then I will, if I feel like I want to read it a little extra. The next book I bring with me to adoration is called The Reed of God. This one is all about the humanity of Our Lady, beautiful reflections, beautiful meditations. I absolutely love reading this book in adoration. Again, another old book my mom found in the basement, but I will see if I can link it below. Let me just read you like a little bit of this. Let me see. In the world as it is, torn with agonies and dissensions, we need some direction for our souls, which is never away from us, which without enslaving us or narrowing our vision, enters into every detail of our life. Everyone longs for some such inward rule, a universal rule as big as the immeasurable law of love, yet as little as the narrowness of our daily routine. It must be so truly part of us all that it makes us all one, and yet to each one the secret of his own life with God. To this need, the imitation of Our Lady is the answer. In contemplating her, we find intimacy with God, the law which is the lovely yoke of the one irresistible love. So I absolutely love this book, highly suggest it. I will see if I can find it. The next book is Dantes Inferno. This is the whole book, like all of the books. So everything is in here. I have not started this one yet, but I have been taking it with me in case I do feel like reading some poetry. I'm not the biggest poetry person, but I really do want to read St. John of the Cross's poetry. I've heard that it's beautiful, really phenomenal poetry. But yeah, this is another book that I take with me. I haven't started it yet, but I have heard it's very good and basically everybody loves it who has read it. So highly suggest Dantes Inferno. Next up is C.S. Lewis, The Screwtape Letters. I'm about probably more than, I'm literally almost done. Yeah, I'm literally almost done with this book. I read this one during Adoration all the time, and it calls me out on so many things. You guys, this book is great. Despite the fact C.S. Lewis was not Catholic, I feel like he literally would have become Catholic because his views aligned with a lot of the things we believe as Catholics. But anyways, this is a wonderful book. It confused me at first, trying to get used to the enemy, which was God in this book, and then the devil. So it was a little confusing at first, but really, really great information in here. And I think it's great to reflect on certain things that go on in these letters that could be applicable in our lives. I just finished reading this book, and that is A Story of a Soul. I just finished reading this one. Absolutely loved this book. I think this book really gave me appreciation for nuns and sisters. St. Therese of Lisieux is just such a beautiful soul, and I loved reading this book and getting to know her a lot better. I highly suggest this book for anyone who is looking for doing, becoming a nun or a sister, or just wants to grow closer to, a spiritual sister, because she's in heaven, so obviously she's part of our family. But yeah, and so I really loved this book. I'm sure all of you guys have already read it, so I wasn't thinking about mentioning this one, but I am anyways, so bada bing, bada boom. Loved reading this one during Adoration. The last two books I'm going to suggest kind of go together, and you guys have heard me mention them before. It's Uniformity with God's Will and How to Converse with God. Both are by St. Alphonsus Liguori. Absolutely love these books. They're only like 30-ish pages. One of them, I believe it's How to Converse with God, has like the most beautiful prayers at the end. I absolutely love it. These books though are on my Kindle. I do not have hard copies of them, so I can't just like show you. But yeah, I will link those below too. Oh, and I almost forgot. You guys already know this, but I have like a huge devotion to Our Lady of Sorrows. I don't have the book with me. It's in my car because I take it with me to Adoration and things. But yeah, I also do the devotion to Our Lady of Sorrows, and I can link the little booklet for that below too. And with all of that being said, that is basically my updated prayer routine and adoration routine. Hopefully you guys want to add some more to your routine, or maybe it gave you inspiration to go search for other prayers, whatever it might be. I hope it's helped you guys, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Bye!